Hello, and welcome to the instructional video for teleFoto. When you first purchase teleFoto, you will see the teleFoto icon will appear on your springboard or your home page. So go ahead and touch the teleFoto icon to launch it. And here it's going to display the instructional manual, where at the top you've already clicked the play button to watch this video. Please feel free to scroll through this page to read through the manual as well, because there is more information that's in the manual that you will not find in this video. So definitely read through the manual if you can. So now let's touch done here in the upper left-hand corner. And since teleFoto is going to use your private photos or your private albums, then you definitely need to register your username and password. So that's the first thing you should do. So for my username, I'll put in just G row. And for the password, let's put in just an A. And let's confirm that password to be an A as well. And then finally for the email, I'll put in my email address, the grostami@gmail.com. Okay, perfect. So once we've done that, just touch the register button and you've now registered and you're ready to start using. Now, you'll notice that the application will give you two default folders of the ESP Easy folder and the Vegas folder with Vegas images that's a little bit harder. Now, to be able to perform teleFoto, all you have to do now is just simply touch the ESP folder. There you go, let's do that. And so now, on your iPhone, you'll notice a screen that's going to look like your iPhone is having some problems with the battery, that your battery is almost dead. Now, later on, you'll see how you can change that image to be anything you like. And this image is provided just in case you want to prove to your spectators that the reason why you're not using your device is because your battery is dead. Now, most of the time, I don't do that. I'll just simply have my phone in my pocket and I don't even talk about my phone, you know? So now, you're going to take your device, either your iPhone or your Android device, and you're going to put it in your pocket. Now, make sure if you put it in a pocket that's in the front of your pants, that you position it somewhere where you're going to be able to easily feel the vibration of the phone, because that's the real secret of how teleFoto works, is how your phone is going to vibrate to communicate what your spectators are looking at on their device. So now that your phone is in your pocket, let's simulate a spectator's device by bringing up this iPhone simulator. So here is your spectator's device. That device can be either a smartphone, it can be a tablet, it can actually even be a computer. Just as long as that device can connect to the internet, teleFoto is going to be able to work. So now that we've gone into the spectator's device, you're going to instruct the spectator to launch a browser. So in this case, it's Safari. And on the address, you're going to put in the address that you saw before written right next to the actual album. Now remember, we're currently performing the ESP symbols. So the album there was para.ms/ph/26-0. All right, so the moment that we go into that album, you'll notice that, yep, there it is. The image of the first symbol of the ESP symbols appears, which is the circle, and magically that image is being broadcast to your device. So not only is it showing you the image over here, it shows you a caption which says what is this particular symbol. And currently it says that a circle is a 1, because a circle is only made up of one line and the vibration code is a 1. Now as I swipe through the images, you'll notice that after about a 1 or 2 second delay, the images are being updated on your viewer. Now remember, this is on the left-hand side, your phone, which is in your pocket. So regardless of what image your spectator is looking at, after just a few seconds, your phone in your pocket will... All right, now let's hear that again. And then one last time. Okay, so in your pocket, you're currently feeling the vibration code of 2, which here, the vibration code is designated by a 1-1. A 1 designates just that short vibration pulse, and a 0 in your vibration code is going to designate a pause in your vibration code. And you can actually design these vibration codes any way you like, and we'll see that in a little while. So as far as the performance goes, your spectator now simply has gone to a web page where they are viewing all of these different images of ESP symbols. And let's say, for example, they were stopping at this symbol here with the 3 wavy lines. After the 4-second delay, you feel. Okay, let's once again feel that again. And so now you show some intense concentration on your face, and you tell your spectator that they are now concentrating on the 3 wavy lines. So the memorization for these ESP symbols is really simple. Obviously, because it's 3 wavy lines, that's why it's a vibration code of 3. A square has 4 sides, and that's one of the reasons why the vibration code here is 4. And the 5-pointed star has a vibration code of 5 because obviously the 5 points of the star. So that is the most basic performance of telephoto. So let's now just put aside the spectator's phone and go back to our device. So now you're going to be like bringing the phone back out of your pocket, and you'll touch the done button here in the upper left-hand corner. So let's take a look at some of the other settings that are in telephoto. We've already seen how easy it is just to be able to touch an album and perform that particular album. All the way in the upper left-hand corner, you see the refresh button. When you click refresh, telephoto is going to refresh all of your albums, because keep in mind that you can actually create albums and add your own photos to these albums from any device. It doesn't matter if it's a computer or a tablet or a phone. Hence, because of this ability of doing this from any device in the world, when you are back on your iPhone, you want to be able to click on that refresh button so that everything now will be in sync. Okay, so that's what refresh does. All the way in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see the question mark button, and when you touch the question mark, that's going to be the way for you to be able to get back to the manual, so you can either watch this video again or just read through the instructions again. But then finally, the Reset Albums button down here at the bottom. Reset Albums is created so that when you constantly perform telephoto again and again and again with, let's say, the same folder, you might be afraid of some of your spectators in the past going to a folder, or I should say the same folder that you had performed for them, and simply looking through those photos and confusing the current performance that you're doing for your current spectator. Now, when you touch the Reset Albums button once in a while, it forces the telephoto servers to reset your albums back to their default state, so that you never have to worry about, any of your past spectators interfering with your present performance. And that's basically what the Reset Albums button does. All right, and by the way, you'll notice that if you just press Reset Albums, it will say that the albums have been reset, but really nothing is going to change on your screen. All that change is happening on the server side on the internet related to resetting your albums. So now let's talk about the very powerful Edit button. So let's go ahead and touch that. So now, starting from the top, you can either touch the settings, so we can see some of the settings of telephoto, where you will notice your username. Here you can change your email address, so if you ever change your email in the future, you can put in whatever you like and touch update to update your user email information. As we scroll further down, we can see the vibration settings. First, the threshold in seconds. This is the number of seconds that the app is going to wait until it actually does the vibration code. So when your spectator is swiping through the photo, they're going to stop at a photo, and after 4 seconds of stopping on a photo, that's only when the vibration code would start to play. Now, obviously, you can change this to be whatever you like. The number of repeats currently is set to 2, and that's one of the reasons why we heard the vibration code, or we felt the vibration code 3 times in our pocket. So if you were to set the repeats to be 0, it means that it would only do the vibration code once. Now, for the duration and the period settings, these are not going to have too much of an effect on the iPhone, whereas on the Android, they will work perfectly. On the iPhone, the length or the duration of a vibration is constant. The operating system of the iPhone has locked that down, and a programmer is not allowed to change how long that vibrates. Whereas in contrast, on an Android, you can actually type in whatever you like for both the duration and the period. And this is great for some Android devices that have very loud vibration devices. So by making that pulse be very, very little, maybe 200 or even 100 milliseconds, you'll be able to feel it definitely in your pocket, but nobody will be able to hear it just because the vibration doesn't last that long. Now, I really like having my repeats set to just simply one repeat. So let me go ahead and change that here for you right now. And I'll click the update button so that now my vibration settings have been updated. Finally, at the bottom of that page, you're going to see change password. So you can change the password of your account to be whatever you like, and change background so that you can also change the image that teleFoto displays that shows you that you have a low battery. Now, if you don't like the low battery setting image, you can change it to whatever you like, whatever is going to make sense for your performance. So that's for the settings of teleFoto. Now we click done as we go back to our editing menu. Let's click on create new album so we can see what that's all about. Now when you create a new album, first is the album name. So let's touch that. And we'll call this one Birds. Okay, perfect. Underneath Birds, you can choose to either populate an album with your own photos, which we're going to see in a second, or you can pre-populate an album with photos that are from the internet that have a particular topic. So in this case, I'm going to check that off. And under the topic, since we call this folder Birds, let's just type in Birds. Okay, and for the number of photos, let's type into here 7 photos that we want to bring in, and we touch add. All right, so now you can see that teleFoto right now is fetching 7 photos that are related to birds into this Birds album, and the album now has been added, and there you are. You can actually see that album there. So now if you were to touch that album, you can see that sure enough, the internet has come back with these 7 different photos of birds. And if you were to touch any one of the images themselves, you can now actually modify what the parameters are for that photo. First, if you don't like the photo at all, you can of course delete it here in the upper right hand corner. For the caption, let's go ahead and touch that and call this bird here white. Okay, since it is a white bird. And for the vibration code, let's set the vibration code on that one to be just 1. Okay, now we touch the update button, and you can see that we've changed both the caption and the vibration code for that image. And let's move forward with 2 more photos. Let's change this one over here. So we just call this guy here orange. And for his vibration code, let's set that to be on 1 or a 2. And let's update that. So now that got updated as well, and you can see it right here. And then finally, for the last photo here, let's change this one here to be wild. And for the vibration code, let's set this one to be 111 or a 3 and update that. Okay, so now you're going to notice how you've created 3 images that have vibration codes, while there are still 4 other images here that do not have vibration codes, or do they have any kind of captions. Now, teleFoto is always going to show your spectators your photos that do not have vibration codes first in the order that they appear here on the list. Now, one other thing that we're going to do is, even though this album is made up of images that are of birds that it just fetched off the internet, let's go ahead and just add a folder ourselves into this album, one of my own photos from my own photo library. So I select photo, and I go to my camera roll, and let's say I grab this photo over here of a lantern. So I like the photo there, and the photo caption, I'll just go ahead and put on light. All right, perfect. And again, if I want to add a vibration code over here to it, I could. So let's set the vibration code here to be 101. and we touch Add Photo. And now you'll notice that after a little bit of pause, it's going to upload the photo there. And as we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see that the photo that we had on our iPhone has been added to this particular folder. So now that we have created this album, you've seen how you can use the plus key to add your own photos to it. Also, when you touch the settings button over here on the album, you can either now choose to copy and paste this album URL into your copy buffer, just in case you wanted to, let's say, text message this album to your spectator, just so that they don't have to necessarily type that address on their browser. It's just going to make it easier for them just to open up their text message and do it. So that's why this is over here for the album URL. For the album name, of course, you can change it, or you can even choose to delete the album here completely if you don't like it, or more importantly, you can clone the album. Now, cloning albums is really important. If you're in a walk-around situation where you're performing telephoto as you go from a table to another table, you might be a little afraid of the first table that you just performed for revisiting that particular photo album while you're performing for another table and kind of confusing the signals that they're trying to send to you. So by touching Clone Album, it will take the album that you just created, it's going to make a copy of it with all of the same settings and the same photos you had in it, but now it is a completely different URL, a different web address, and so now when you walk around, as you go from one table to the other, you're just simply telling different people different albums or different web addresses that they should type in to their browser. So that way, nobody can ever crosstalk on top of each other and the signals will never get confused. And that's the purpose of the Clone Album button. So let's click Done. And actually, let's perform and let's click back over here. Let's go ahead and perform this particular new album that we just created, which is the Birds album. So as always, you touch the album that we just created. Let's put this over to the side and bring back our spectator's iPhone. There we go. And now for that address, we're going to type in para.ms/ph/26-2, because that was the album URL that I saw. And now you'll notice that sure enough, here are first all of the photos that did not have a vibration code. And so these are the photos of the birds. And you can see that we don't have any vibration codes for these images. And that's why they're being presented first. And then we're going to cross the line, which is going to be now displaying the images that do have vibration codes. So now here's the bird. Okay, we'll wait for another one. There's this. That's the vibration code for the one. And as we swipe across, here's now going to be the vibration code for the second bird with the 2 pulses. And then finally, as we go all the way to the last photo of the lantern, that's the photo that we had on our iPhone. Let's listen to that one. And you notice how the 0 is showing the pause. All right, perfect. So now you've seen how we could have created an album, populate the album either with your own photos or with photos from the internet, and you just created a new preset. So now we can just touch Done here in the upper left-hand corner. All right, so now that you've seen some of the most basic functionality of telephoto, let's now go through the most advanced kind of a performance that you can have with telephoto with the Vegas album. So now let's go ahead and touch Vegas here, and it shows us our dead battery screen, and you instruct the spectator to go to that album on their device. .ms/ph/26-1, and here we go. Once that image is displayed on their device, after just 1 or 2 seconds, that image will appear on your phone. And as before, you'll notice that these first set of 10 images in the Vegas folder do not have any vibration codes. Now, you're going to instruct your spectator to swipe those images, and usually I say, yeah, this is an album that has hundreds, if not thousands, of photos that are from Las Vegas. Now, obviously, that's a lie, because there's only 30 photos that are in this album, and the first 10 do not have vibration codes, And their intention is to convey to the spectator that there are a lot of photos here, even though there are not. Now, usually I will say to a spectator as you keep swiping through those photos, you'll probably find a photo of Elvis impersonators. And then, even though I can't see their device, they will say, yeah, there are some photos of Elvis impersonators. And here is the first photo that does actually have a vibration code of 1. Now, you'll notice the caption that's displayed here says that the king is number 1. These captions are designed to help you memorize what the vibration codes are and how they associate with the different photos that are here in this album. So you think of Elvis, hey, he's number 1 in rock and roll, that's why the king is number 1. Now, as I go to the next photo, we have actually a photo of the MGM lion, and that's the number 2. So since 2 rhymes with zoo, well, the lion lives in a zoo, and that's why it has a vibration code of 2. Now, what I would like to do here for you is just to play one of these vibration codes so you can feel what that actually plays like in your pocket. Now, when we come to the pyramid, you can see that a pyramid has 3 sides. That's why it has a vibration code of 3. So let's see exactly what happens. The spectator stops at a photo, and after 4 seconds, this is what you feel. Okay, a little bit of a pause, and once again. So, of course, the repeat is great. So just in case you were not paying attention or you were distracted, the repeating vibration codes are going to make sure that you will actually be able to know what your spectators are looking at. Now, the memory trick for this one is that, yes, the pyramid does have 3 sides. That's why it is 3. Now, when we come to the Arc de Triomphe replica, which is at the Paris Hotel, that's the 4 rhymes with door, and the Arc was built by Napoleon as the door to Paris, and that's why I associated the word door or 4 with the Arc, the door to Paris. As we come to the fires of the volcanoes in front of the Mirage Hotel, the word fire and 5 are pretty much exactly the same word other than the R and the V. So that's why every time I feel the 5 vibration codes, I know, well, 5, fire. So then I immediately see this image. Now, it's imperative that you familiarize yourself with all these photos so you know exactly what these photos are. Because if you didn't know what the photos were, then these memorization codes really wouldn't make sense. As we come to the 6th photo here with the vibration codes, you're going to notice how this vibration code is a little different than what we've had before. You'll notice the 101. Let me first actually have you hear what that sounds like. Right, and one more time. So you heard or felt the 1, which is the first vibration, the pause, and the other 1. So when I'm performing, the way that I think is I count the number of times that I feel the vibration. And in this case, I only felt 1, then I felt that pause and another 1. That pause in the 1 to me always says plus 5. So I counted 1 plus 5, therefore it's a 6, and you know that the cowboy has a 6-shooter. Now in this case, the cowboy does not have a 6-shooter, but you get the idea of how cowboys typically have the gun with a 6-shooter on by their side. All right, so now that we've seen these vibration codes, as we keep them going forward, you can see here that we got a close-up of a slot machine, and the slot machine has got the 7 on it. In fact, you can see the 7 right here, and that's one of the reasons why the vibration code here is 7. So when I feel that 7 vibration code, which is that buzz, buzz, pause 1, 2 plus 5, 7, and I see 7 is the lucky winning number in a slot machine, hence they're looking at a slot. And as we come to the famous neon sign of the cowgirl, now this one is easy because a girl has a figure 8 body. So you can also maybe imagine that her bust is like an infinity sign, like a figure 8. So that's why the girl is the number 8. As we look at the New York hotel skyline with the Statue of Liberty, just think of 9 as New York because both of them start with an N, and it just so happens that the numbers from 1 through 10, 9 is the only actual number that starts with the letter N, and that's why 9 in New York makes sense there for New York, New York. And then finally, the stratosphere, and that's number 10. The stratosphere, everybody knows, is 10 miles high. Well, it's not 10 miles high, but since 10 was a big number, that's why I wanted to associate that with this tall tower in Las Vegas. Now, once we get to that last photo, you'll notice that now these other photos that come up are the same subject matter as the first 10. Once again, an Elvis impersonator, followed by the lion in front of the MGM, the pyramid of Luxor, the Arc de Triomphe, or the door to Paris, which is the number 4, the fires, or the 5 of the Mirage volcanoes, the cowboy with the 6-shooter, the close-up of the slot machine with the 7s, the cowgirl at Fremont Street with the number 8, once again the New York skyline, and then finally the stratosphere. So even though these photos look different than the first 10 photos, they are of the same subject matter, which means that as you're describing to your spectators what you see in your mind's eye, it doesn't matter if they are seeing this photo of the volcanoes in front of the stratosphere, or if they're seeing the other photo of the stratosphere, which is this one right here. Both of those can be explained with the same words that you would use to describe the volcanoes in front of the Mirage Hotel. Okay? So that is the basic performance of how you do this. Basically, your spectators are holding a device. You have your back turned to them. You can even have a spectator actually close your eyes, as you might have seen on the demo video for teleFoto. And just because of these vibration codes in your pocket, you know exactly what they are looking at. If you decide to create your own albums, just make sure that you use some of the memorization tips and techniques that I have taught in the written manual that will really help you, develop a memorization idea or a technique that will help you with your own photos as well. Okay, so now that we've seen the most advanced performance, let's finish with some closing thoughts and tips and tricks about teleFoto. Let's hide that out of the way and go back to our phone and click the Done button. Okay, now the first thing you're going to notice is that throughout this whole time, your iPhone in your pocket has never turned off. And that's because that we forced the phone actually to stay on regardless of what your auto turn off settings are of your iPhone. And the same thing holds true even for your Android device. Now, if for whatever reason you realize that that's not the case, and if it's not working, just make sure you change your device's settings so that it's not going to turn your phone off while it's in your pocket. But by default, this should work perfectly fine on both iPhones and Androids. Okay. The other thing that you'll notice is that the URLs that are for these addresses are already shortened, but you are welcome to use any other URL shortening service online to make these URLs more customizable to you. In fact, because this is nothing more than a URL, you can embed these teleFoto images or these albums into your own website. So let's say if I have a website that's called Greg Rostami's Magic, and I'm a professional magician, and if I'm talking to a potential client, I can always ask them to just click on my photos link there, and the spectator thinks they're just looking at photos of me performing in different venues or in front of different celebrities, whatever, when in reality, I have just started this amazing mentalism trick. As far as duplicates of your photos, or I should say duplicate vibration codes, please keep in mind that you can set as many photos as you like to have the same vibration code. So in the case of the fire image that we were looking at in front of the Mirage Hotel, imagine you had another photo that you had added of somebody at Fremont Street that was eating fire or was blowing fire, whatever. So now you notice how both of those images have a lot of attributes in common. They were both taken in the evening because it's obvious that it's a nighttime shot. Both of those photos have fire in it, but one photo is very different from the other. One photo has a person blowing fire and the other one does not. So you can always use mentalism talk or kind of like fishing tactics to help realize exactly what image your spectators are looking at, even though you might have the same vibration code for many photos in your album. So that is some of the closing thoughts about telephoto. Feel free to experiment with this with not only your own photos, but it could be cards, it could be tarot cards, it could be just about any symbology that you like to use, because it's open-ended for you to be able to use your creativity and just go wild with all the possibilities of telephoto. Thank you and enjoy using it.